DeepSeek-V4-Flash-0731 delivers strong agentic encoding performance at roughly one-fifth the price of comparable frontier models. This is Models and Agents, episode 128. Simon Willison reports that the 304 billion parameter DeepSeek-V4-Flash-0731 model, 167 gigabytes on Hugging Face, ranks ahead of MiniMax M3 on artificial analysis charts. It charges 14 cents per million input tokens and 27 cents per million output tokens. MiniMax released its H3 omnimodal model that ingests text, images, video, and audio in one context and outputs 2K video clips with native stereo audio for durations of 4 to 15 seconds. Stateless MCP 2.0 and Dataflow Harness both lower the barrier for reliable agent tooling by replacing session state and freeform scripts with auditable single request calls and persistent directed acyclic graphs. MiniMax released MiniMax H3, a general-purpose multimodal generation model that treats text, images, video, and audio as a single unified context. The model returns video with native stereo sound at 2K resolution for integer durations between 4 and 15 seconds without separate audio tracks. It is positioned as a native omnimodal system rather than a text-to-video model with bolted-on components. Builders working on short-form video with synchronized sound can now generate clips directly from mixed inputs instead of stitching separate pipelines. Watch for follow-on releases that extend duration or add longer context windows. The 304 billion parameter DeepSeek-V4-Flash-0731 ships with unchanged architecture but improved post-training that boosts agentic encoding performance. It ranks ahead of the 428 billion parameter MiniMax M3 on artificial analysis Pareto charts while costing 14 cents per million input tokens and 27 cents per million output tokens. Simon Willison notes strong results on the intelligence index versus cost chart and shows that raising reasoning effort via OpenRouter markedly improves output quality on tasks such as drawing a pelican riding a bicycle. The release appeared on Hugging Face on July 31, 2026, and the official DeepSeek API moved into public beta the same day. Default runs cost 44 hundredths of a cent and high reasoning runs cost 22 hundredths of a cent, per the link gist, with the first request in a session benefiting from prompt caching. The model is available through OpenRouter and the official DeepSeek API now in public beta. The 2026 0728 Model Context Protocol revision replaces the two request initialize plus call flow with a single stateless PUD that includes MCP protocol version and MCP method headers. Simon Willison built MCP Explorer, Dataset MCP, and the LLM MCP client plugin in 1 week to explore the simpler spec. The change removes server-side session storage and makes MCP tools easier to audit than full shell access. Peking University researchers released an open-source framework that guides LLM agents to build persistent, editable DAG workflows instead of disposable Python scripts. On a 12-task benchmark, it reached 93.3% end-to-end pass rate, while cutting API cost 72.5% and latency 49.9% versus vanilla Claude code. The system uses typed mutations against a live operator registry and dataflow skills for domain rules. The new dataset Agent 0.4 Alpha 0 release adds await context.browser task so agent tools can run JavaScript directly in the user's browser. The capability lets dataset agent plugins expose custom browser-side actions without additional server round trips. The change is documented in pull request number 33 and targets use cases where client-side rendering or DOM inspection is required inside an agent workflow. The new SMEvals tool runs small YAML-defined eval suites across models, prompts, and harnesses, then grades results with custom checkers. Commands include UVX SMEvals run, UVX SMEvals grade, and UVX SMEvals serve for a local results browser. It supports any model reachable by the LLM library and separates execution from grading. Groundcover raised $100 million and now has more than 250 paying customers. It uses eBPF collection inside customer clouds, so telemetry never leaves the user's AWS, Azure, or GCP account. Pricing is based on monitored hosts rather than data volume, which suits high telemetry AI agent workloads. A new Archive paper shows standard metrics reward repetitive normal templates and penalize clinically meaningful rare terms in chest X-ray report generation. The authors introduce a framework that measures term erasure and biased hallucination in VLM radiology reports. The paper is titled Measuring What VLMs Don't Say and is available at RArXiv 26030165. Everyone talks about MCP as a simple plugin, a tool layer. In practice, the original stateful design forced every client to open a session, store a MCP session ID, and route every subsequent call to the same backend instance. The 2026-0728 revision collapses that into one HTTP request carrying protocol version and method headers, eliminating server-side session tables entirely. The engineering payoff is horizontal scaling without sticky sessions and simpler client code that no longer needs to manage or retry session IDs. The trade-off is that servers lose any opportunity to keep per-client mutable state across calls, so tool authors must design purely functional operations or push state into the client-supplied meta object. Teams that previously wrapped MCP behind a stateful proxy can now drop the proxy and expose tools directly behind ordinary load balancers. The practical decision rule is that if your tool needs only the arguments supplied in the current call, switch to stateless. If it must remember prior interactions, keep that memory in the client or in an external store the tool can reach. This stateless revision advances the standardization of agent and tool protocols that we discussed yesterday by removing the need for session affinity. Run UVX MCP Explorer list, then inspect and call tools to see stateless MCP in action. Test DeepSeek-V4-Flash-0731 at high reasoning effort via OpenRouter on a coding or agent task, and compare cost against your current model. Install the Alpha LLM MCP client plugin and wire it to dataset.simonwillison.net/-MCP to let an LLM run SQL against a live dataset. Clone Dataflow Harness and run one of the 12 benchmark tasks to see how typed DAG mutations differ from free-form script generation. Build a small SMEVAL suite for a task you care about, such as SVG generation or haiku writing, and grade runs across two models. More open-weight releases from Chinese labs are expected to target the price and performance band currently occupied by DeepSeek-V4-Flash. Additional MCP server implementations and client libraries will appear as the stateless spec stabilizes. Further agent telemetry platforms will adopt host-based or BYOC pricing to handle rising AI workload data volumes. Before we go, the next open-weight checkpoints from Chinese labs are already in testing for that same price and performance band. That wraps up today's AI briefing. Share this with a developer or builder who wants to stay current. Subscribe wherever you listen. See you tomorrow. And if you'd rather watch than listen, find us on YouTube at Nera Network. Links in the show notes. Quick tip from the network, try unintended consequences next. True stories of good intentions that backfired. Every Nera Network show is free at neranetwork.com. Following the long arcs, story trackers on neranetwork.com follow major programs across episodes: Tesla, SpaceX, AI, space science, and more. This episode used AI voice synthesis of my voice. Editorial selection and analysis are my own.